What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be kind of story time. I'm going to kind of give you the rundown on how I ended up here. Because let me tell you, I never imagined that I would like have a makeup channel on YouTube doing like this. This, by the way, you'll see my video on Sunday is going to be me using all of these Perfect World palettes from Odin's Eye. The look that I have on my eyes today is with the Sea Talk palette, which is Lauren's collab palette. So that's the eye look. I'll tell you what I'm wearing in a second. I don't want to like get ahead of myself, but yeah, so how I got here, my actually surprisingly long history of enjoying makeup even when I didn't actually put it on myself, and I don't know, I guess where it's going, right? That's kind of like looking to the future. That's kind of part of it. If you're into that, stick around. If you are new here, by the way, if you enjoy this video, you can subscribe. I upload every Wednesday and every Sunday, and yeah, I don't know, just over here trying to offer a different perspective on makeup. A guy's perspective, even though today I look a little bit like I'm doing drag. That's almost never the case. Anyway, let me actually tell you what is on my face before I go any further. So like I said, Sea Talk palette is on my eyes. I use like the neutral shadows and then the electric kelp, like bright neon green in the inner corner. I am using my Lancome foundation and concealer. If you've been watching my videos recently, that's practically all that I've been wearing. I'm wearing this blush from Unearthly Cosmetics. I've said this a million times, but I got a free old branding box from them, so this stuff says Alien on it, and I think it's all discontinued stuff, but this is the blush. It's like a cute terracotta kind of a blush. It's called Gigi. I'm fairly certain that it doesn't exist anymore. And then I'm also wearing this lovely, what's the name of this shade? Shaken or Stirred. This is from About Face. It's a liquid highlighter, and it's the most beautiful, just like soft, natural highlighter. I put maybe a little too much on my nose, I gotta say. Did I rub some of my foundation off while I was trying to get that off? I don't know. I look a little bit red there, but I maybe overdid the nose a little, but everywhere else, look at that. It's just like this beautiful natural glow. Like if you want a natural looking glow, this can be intimidating because it's so, if you overdo it, it looks really metallic and crazy. But if you just take it easy, like I didn't even squeeze. It's like a little squeeze thing. I didn't squeeze it. I just took it out of the bottle and just tapped it on, and then I took my brush and I just blended it out, and it's just lovely. I don't know, so there's that. I've never talked about that on the channel before, so I just thought I would talk about it a little bit. My lips, easy peasy. I use the this is also from About Face. This is the lip liner in the shade Little. Yeah, I think it's Little. It's just like this really nice neutral, kind of pinky neutral shade. My husband for Christmas 2021 got me the Halsey's Favorites kit, and it came with that highlighter and that lip liner. And I'm also wearing Candy Milk from Fenty. I've talked about this one a million times. It's like my favorite lip product, but you can't get it anymore. It's discontinued. Let's just talk about my makeup journey. Let's get into that. Let's go way back to when I was just a weird little kid. You know, not too different from how I am now. Still pretty weird. But even back when I was a kid, I don't know why. I can't explain this, so don't expect an explanation. But I've always just liked the way that makeup looks on the face. I always liked color on the face. I like colorful lips, colorful like eyes. I always thought that was visually appealing. So I don't know, that just kind of stuck with me my whole life. I always enjoyed clown faces. I know, I know, I'm unique, but I think I've talked about how I love Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal, the clown from Twisted Metal, the video game. And I mean, that was my little. How old was I when I first saw that ice cream truck in that video game with the little head on top with like the clown makeup? Like, I was immediately drawn to that, even as like a tiny little child. Stuff like that was always, I don't know, visually interesting to me, visually appealing. Years went on, and I don't know, like, social standards, say that like guys don't wear makeup and all this stuff. And I mean, things are kind of changing now, but even now things are, not, I don't always feel comfortable going out in public with makeup on. Actually, I never really feel comfortable, but things are different now. We'll say that. But when I was a teenager, I got really into Marilyn Manson. Now, I'm not here to talk about Marilyn Manson and things that have been said about him more recently and all of that, but I will say that he had a pretty profound effect on me when I was a teenager, as I know he has for a lot of people. And I think that when I was a teenager, seeing him with his makeup and everything, that kind of reignited that interest in me, in that kind of almost like playtime, almost like how do I word that? Like, it was just, that kind of feeling of like fun, and like, it was also, I was a teenager and I was all edgy and grumpy and miserable. Some of us are just real depressed. And I was hella depressed in my teens. Like, I should have been medicated. That was a mess. Let's not talk about that. But seeing Marilyn Manson with his fun makeup, it kind of made me, as an adult, I don't know, just like feel that attraction to makeup. And I remember being a teenager and kind of wishing that I could play with makeup. And it was always like, well, the options are that basically do like drag and end up looking like a girl, which was not the goal. So I could either do that and be like queer presenting, which at the time wasn't really a thing, especially not for me, growing up in a conservative household and going to Catholic school and all of that. Like, and when I was a teenager, I talked about this briefly in another video, but the world was a very different place, and I couldn't do this and be safe. You know what I mean? So there was that option, or I had the option to do like the super goth thing and like be like scary looking. And that was kind of the dichotomy with Marilyn Manson and what he was doing with makeup. It was either like gender bending or like Halloweeny, like scary looking. And neither of those options seemed appropriate for me. And I also knew that that wouldn't fly like in my house, in the world that I was living in. So I remember being a teenager and being like, damn, I wish that I could like play with makeup and stuff, but it's just not, I'm not even going to bother. You know what I mean? Like, it's not worth the struggle. Then I ended up, I'll pop up a picture, but in 2017, I distinctly remember that it was 2017. Good year for me, by the way. I don't know why, but it was a good year. It was a lot of things, but I did this Harley Quinn costume for Halloween, and my, I guess, like, headcanon for what this version of Harley Quinn was like this street punk Harley, but like not a girl, like dude Harley, but like gay, and like, I don't know. It was like I had this whole thing in my head about what this alternate universe version of Harley was that I was dressing up as. And as an adult, I'm pretty sure that was the first time I ever played with makeup, like as an adult. And that was super fun. And I did buy makeup for that, but that was a one-off thing. Like, it was like Halloween, it was like an excuse. And I didn't use the stuff that I had for a long time. The stuff that I bought, even though every now and then, actually, I would just throw on the lipstick that I bought just to like look at it because I thought it was cool. But then I'd just wash it off. Like, I wasn't like going around dressed like that. But then a few years later, this was 2021. This is so weird, the way that this happened, the way that this all panned out. But I was like I kind of not alternate, but I can be pretty fluid with my presentation, if that's how you want to say it. I don't know if that's really right. I always identify as male, but sometimes I present a little bit more masculine and sometimes I present a little bit more feminine. I personally think that I'm always pretty feminine, like pretty effeminate, even though I've definitely had people try to tell me that I'm not. I'm always like, I know that I am. I know that I'm like obviously gay. I was going through a period of not necessarily even acting super effeminate. I was just feeling very like in touch with my femme vibes, if that makes sense. I go through periods where I relate to different like characters or different celebrities, you know, male or female, and like that will influence how I just like am as a person. And I can kind of fluctuate. But at this particular time, I was definitely feeling my femme vibes, and I was very into Harley Quinn. I'm always very into Harley Quinn, but I think maybe I had just seen... When did the Suicide Squad come out? I feel like I had just seen the Suicide Squad, and I watched Birds of Prey, and I was just, you know, feeling the Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn vibes. And we were in Hot Topic. Gosh, this is so weird. And there was a skirt there that I liked. And I just, I don't know. I think I said that I liked it, and I was there with my, at the time, boyfriend, now husband, and my straight friend, who I mentioned in another video. And I mentioned that I liked this skirt, and they were like, oh, you should get it. You should get it. I was like, why would I get it? Like, I'm not going to spend money on that. I'm not going to like wear that out. Well, my then boyfriend, now husband, ended up buying it for me because he, I don't know, thought that it was funny. I don't really know. I'm not, to this day, I'm not 100% sure why he bought it for me. But then I was like, oh, okay. Now I have this skirt. It's like red and black, of course, like everything in my world. And I was like, maybe I'll do a Harley Quinn cosplay, because my friend John, my straight friend, had also bought me on another occasion. He bought me a Harley Quinn jacket that looks like the one from the Suicide Squad movie. So I was like, let me do a Harley Quinn cosplay. So then I was like, oh, I should buy makeup and do like a look. I was also at the time really enjoying an ASMR artist. I still love her videos, but I don't think I've mentioned on this channel, but she was a big influence with me kind of getting into makeup. Her name is Maddie ASMR. I will link her below somehow or other. Maybe I'll tag her. I don't know. Is that weird? But she's like this super cute, super femme girl who loves like Sanrio and like plushies and like all that cutesy stuff. And she really loves makeup, and she does really bright, colorful makeup and super sparkly, and she does a lot of videos where she talks about her makeup. And I was vibing with it. I was loving it. And, you know, at first it was like I was just loving watching her. But the more I thought about maybe buying some makeup, the more I was kind of thinking like, you know what, maybe I could like get into this. Like I was, what, 28, 29? I was 29 in 2021. I think that this was happening in either spring or summer of 2021. I can never really remember. And I was just going through this period of thinking like, well, the world has kind of changed. I've changed. Maybe I'll give this a try. But up until that point, I always kind of thought of like guys that did makeup as being like super feminine. And if you look at like, I mean, look at me right now. I keep saying that, but if you're new here, this is not a typical look for me. I try to do things that are more kind of male presenting. Like I know it's makeup, and like people just assume that if you're doing makeup you're trying to look girly, but that's not the goal. I'll talk more about that in a second, but I think of people like James Charles, who definitely put a lot of effort into looking very female, very feminine with their makeup, and that was never me. Like I never wanted to be like feminine. I don't know, I guess like more feminine. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Trying to say these things out loud is weird because these are not things that I can just like put into words, you know? Like these are things that have to do with like my identity and like who I am as a person, and it's always evolving and changing, and I'm always learning more things about myself. I'm learning more things about how these expressions of self relate to the world around me and how the world around me affects my self-expression. So I guess I never wanted to be more feminine than masculine, if that makes any sense. So I never wanted to be like James Charles and like put on the makeup and look all girly and femme. And I don't know, it just was never appealing to me. And I didn't want to be like one of those guys. And it wasn't even necessarily like internalized homophobia or chauvinism or whatever you want to call it. It was never like thinking that the masculine was better or preferable. It was just maybe because I am a little bit in between in terms of my, behavior. I struggle with the fact that I do identify very much as male. I've always, identified as male. I've never wanted to be anything else. And I think maybe I am a little too concerned sometimes with how other people will perceive me. So maybe that was what it was. I don't know. I really can't tell you for sure. But I just never wanted to, I don't know, go down that road, But at this particular point in time, when I was really feeling my feminine vibes, I took a step back and I was like, you know what? Let's say screw it. Let's say who the hell cares? And we'll just do it. I kind of had like my excuse. I was going to like do this Harley Quinn cosplay, which, did I even do anything with that? I know I took some pictures. Oh yes, I did. I did do a Harley Quinn cosplay. I went to a Halloween event. I could post a picture here of my updated Harley Quinn look. We actually went to a drag show, like a Halloween themed drag show at a local orchard. Super fun. And I went with my friend who gender swapped as the Joker, but like female Joker, and I was male Harley Quinn, which was super fun. And that was great. I loved that. That was a lot of fun. And at that time, I think I used a ColourPop palette. So I had already been experimenting with makeup and playing with it and doing eyeshadow and stuff before I even did that Harley Quinn cosplay that I had been planning for like months and months and months. And another thing that I did before I did that cosplay was I actually started posting my stuff to Instagram, my makeup stuff. And because I had been taking pictures of everything and I was thinking about doing an Instagram. And I don't know, whenever autumn comes around, especially October, I always get inspired to like do things. And so I ended up starting my Instagram in October of 2021. And I think I posted like a green, my first look on there was a green look using one of the BH Halloween palettes that they released that year. And so I started doing Instagram and posting my stuff on there. But the first brand that I really started to like love was ColourPop. And it's so funny because for such a long time there, I was like, oh, ColourPop is so great. Why would anyone spend any money on like these expensive high-end brands and stuff? And, you know, why would you want to do that? And then 2022 came around and I decided I wanted to try Natasha Denona. I liked their color stories. And so around the time of like the Sephora VIB sale, I got some, well, actually I bought some Natasha Denona palettes right from Natasha Denona's website. I got the Love palette and the Sunset palette, or no, Sunrise palette, because they weren't available from Sephora. And they were like in a little bundle together. You could save a little bit of money. So I bought those, and then I also bought Retro from Sephora in the VIB sale. So that was the first time I started getting into more high-end makeup. I had also, you know, experimented a little bit with indie makeup. I had some BH, which at the time they were indie. I think I had bought my Lethal stuff at that point because I bought some Lethal multi-chromes, and those were more expensive. So I was experimenting with getting more expensive product at that point anyway. So that was, you know, I took the dive and I was starting to buy more expensive brands and products. And so I had taken the plunge. I was starting to buy the more expensive stuff and just starting to experiment with more brands. I think at the end of 2021, I had tried like Fenty, I had tried like the glosses and stuff. I had tried NYX and ELF and ColourPop and BH. But generally speaking, I was buying cheaper or, you know, more inexpensive brands. So when I finally decided to try Natasha Denona, that kind of opened the door to me trying the more high-end stuff. Not that I've done a ton of buying from high-end. I mean, I do have a whole bunch of Natasha Denona palettes, but I haven't bought from a ton of other high-end brands. I did recently get some Pat McGrath, and I remember thinking like, oh, like, why would anyone buy these more expensive brands when you can just, you know, like ColourPop is great. But there actually is a difference. You know, like there's a difference. Natasha Denona's shadows blend out like a dream. Honestly, the Pat McGrath stuff, I haven't experimented with it as much, but it also is, you know, clearly superior. So, I mean, I love makeup. I have been buying all kinds of indie brands, Odin's Eye, like I said, Lethal. I got into Nomad this year. I've tried Fantasy Cosmetica. You know, there's all kinds of different brands that I've been experimenting with and trying. I eventually decided that I was gonna try YouTube. I've wanted to do YouTube for a while. I I wanted to for a while there. Uh, I wanted to do ASMR. Actually, I still want to do ASMR. I still might do ASMR. I don't really have the time for it, but maybe we'll see. I don't know. I still want to do that. Um, and I also, for a little while there, thought about maybe doing Yugi tubing, which is Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, that's another hobby that I have. You can see my Dark Magician back there. My Funko of my Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. He's really hard to see. I also have the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. I also have Dark Magician, but I don't think he's out here. The Dark Magician Funko, but I don't think he's out here. But I love Yu-Gi-Oh! I have a whole bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. I don't buy Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff as often anymore for a number of reasons. Um, but that is a hobby of mine that I thought about maybe doing on YouTube, but I just thought that it would be too expensive because I would have to keep buying the products and like having everything very up to date. With makeup, though, um, I mean, yeah, if you want to be doing that kind of stuff and keeping up with the new products, you gotta keep buying it and keeping up. But that's not necessarily what I'm on YouTube to do. My biggest thing when it comes to makeup is I I like to experiment with doing fun, colorful makeup, but trying to make it kind of not transformative, not gender bending, not what you would typically think of as being, you know, a guy doing makeup. I wanted to do makeup that could fit me as a man and still be fun and sparkly and colorful, but without being, I don't know, anything that I had seen before, you know? So that is still my goal. I'm still experimenting with that. Um, you tell me if I'm succeeding, but that's the direction that I'm trying to go in. But I finally decided that I was going to start a YouTube channel. And again, October came around and I started my channel. Since I started the channel, I've uploaded every Wednesday and Sunday, and I've been pretty consistent. I'm doing a good job, in my opinion. The numbers are not really growing anymore. I don't know what's going on with that, but I don't know. It's been a wild ride. Hopefully things continue to grow. Um, I am continuing to get better. I started doing more face makeup once I started my channel because I kind of felt a little bit pressured, not by anyone else, but just like for my own sake. I was like, maybe I should, if I'm going to be doing YouTube, I'm doing makeup on YouTube, I might as well like actually do it. And so I started doing the face makeup more. I'm trying to get better at it, experimenting with it all the time, trying to improve all the time. I don't know. I don't know if I do a good job. You tell me, do I do a good job? I don't know. But yeah, I'm still on this makeup journey. You know, trying different things. I'm doing more neutral makeup now. I felt no desire to do neutral makeup for the longest time because I wanted to do color. I wanted it to be super fun. But you know what? Neutrals can be super fun. That's something that I'm slowly learning. I could do a whole other video talking about my experiences with like finding different makeup YouTubers and stuff, but when I started watching certain YouTubers who did more neutral stuff, I actually started to get more into neutrals because I was seeing them doing it and I was like, you know what? That's actually really cute and it seems like a lot of fun. So I've gotten more into that. Like I said, gotten more into face makeup. I'm paying more attention to face products. I still don't think that face products are as fun as eyeshadow. That's like my main thing, eyeshadow. But yeah, I'm doing more of that. I'm getting more into that. I'm always lusting after like highlighters and blushes now, which is pretty different from, a year ago. But yeah, still growing, still learning. Hopefully you guys are enjoying watching me grow and learn. Hopefully one day I will be, I don't know, able to do more with this, whether I'm like maybe doing makeup on other people or maybe if this channel takes off. But yeah, I wanted to sit down and talk about this for anybody who was kind of wondering how I got here and how I ended up starting a makeup YouTube channel like a year after I started doing makeup. Like I literally had just been doing this for a year, and then it like became a hobby to the point where I wanted to start a whole YouTube channel about it. Oh, I feel like I should also explain where the name That Dude in Makeup comes from. It's kind of like a facetious, humorous sort of a thing, because I feel like sometimes when I go out in public, people will probably look at me and they're like, "Oh, what's with that dude in makeup?" Like, "Oh, look over there, look at that dude in makeup." And it also kind of sounds like when people say like that hoe over there. You can't like turn it into a word like thought. Like if you abbreviate or make an acronym out of that hoe over there, it's thought. And then you can just say that and it's short and simple and funny. And you can't really say that with That Dude in Makeup because it's TDIM, Tadim. Tadim. That's my gender, I'm Tadim. But yeah, I don't know. That was where the name came from. I thought that it was funny. I thought that it was unique and a little bit facetious, a little bit like I'm going to make fun of myself before you can even try to make fun of me. Like, I know, I get it. I get the joke. But it's just fun. It's just, I don't take it super seriously. I'm not trying to be beautiful. I have to be honest. I don't think that I look beautiful with makeup on. Sometimes when I put face makeup on, I'm like, oh, I look really nice. Because it like, evens out the skin, a little bit of blush I think is really cute. Even a little bit of, subtle eyeshadow. Not quite like today, but whenever I've done like any kind of softer eyeshadow, I always feel like it looks really nice. And I don't know, I feel like sometimes I do look pretty nice with makeup on, but most of the time it's not about looking attractive or handsome or sexy or whatever. It's never about that. It's really just about me playing and having fun. And I think that for most women, that's also the case. At least the women that I watch on YouTube, like they're not doing makeup to be sexy. They're doing makeup because it's fun. And if they happen to feel sexy in the makeup, then that's a plus, but that's not what they're doing it for. So that's where I'm at with makeup. Even if I look like a buffoon, I'm still enjoying it. Like it's just fun. It's just fun to do. So that is essentially the story of me getting into makeup and starting this channel and all these things that I've been doing over the past couple years that never in my wildest dreams back then would I have imagined that I would have a makeup YouTube channel. Like, how weird is that? Maybe not that weird, but to me it feels weird. And sometimes I think to myself, like, what am I even doing? Like, I have all this makeup and I'm like doing YouTube. Like, what the hell am I doing? Who am I? Like every now and then I think about it. And I think that it relates back to what I was saying earlier about, just how I present myself to the world and kind of just having to be okay with the fact that people are going to look at me and misunderstand who I am. But I've always had to deal with that. Even when I wasn't wearing makeup, like I behave a certain way that I have no control over. People always used to tell me when I was young, like real young, like, oh, act more, like a man, be more, act like a boy, but it was not within my control. That's just not who I am. I wasn't choosing to be effeminate. Who the hell would choose to be effeminate as a boy? Who would choose the harder path, But that's a topic for a whole other video. So I guess I should wrap this up. I've probably rambled about this for much too long anyway. I'm going to hate having to edit this. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that this wasn't too all over the place and crazy. I knew what I wanted to talk about, but I just didn't know how to say all of it. Hopefully I've said all of it in a way that makes sense, and hopefully you were at least entertained by it. But yeah, if you liked the video, give me a like. If you're not subscribed, please do. And I'll be seeing you guys again on Sunday. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a video. I'm going to do 7 looks, 7 days, 7 looks with the 3 Odin's Eye palettes. Kind of like when I did the same thing with the Nomad palette, except that was 1 week 1 palette. This is going to be 1 week 3 palettes. I'm not going to call it that, but that's essentially the idea of it. So tune in and check that out on Sunday, and I'll be seeing you then, hopefully. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your week. Peace.